tips for networking. First and foremost, you have to go to every single party. A good festival will have a breakfast for the filmmakers, a lunch, a dinner, and then one or two, maybe more big parties. You got to go to the parties, even if you're dead hungover from the party the night before, you're tired, just not in the mood, whatever it is. You're there to, again, as kind of gross as it sounds, to sell yourself and to sell your film, and that's when you meet people. And it's never like go to a party with a pocket full of business cards. Just let that organically happen. Just hang out with people. People just want to hang out. And if they like you, then they're going to start to ask about what you're up to next, or start to ask about, where can they see your film and things like that. But I never go, the whole idea of networking sounds so kind of dirty and business-like. And we're artists. We're not business people with suit and ties. So don't approach these parties or networking events, whatever you want to call them, as an opportunity to promote yourself or your film. Just look at just a place to connect with people who are like-minded or see the world in a different way. But you should never be, hi, my name's Joel, and you should come see my film, and here's this flyer, and here's my business card. Like, no. It just comes organically. Just be cool, and it'll happen. Most of the actors for my films are actors that I've met at festivals, and it's just because we hung out and had a good time. Same with even producers and other crew positions I've met at festivals, and it was never an exchange of business cards ever. It was just an exchange of ideas.
I love that. Just be cool, as Joel says. Don't think of it as a business meeting. It's just supposed to be fun. And look at the opportunity that came up from Deanna going to one of the festival parties and the connections that she makes. A lot of great opportunities there. Jackson, I'm going to throw it to you first, but I've got a little bit of a curveball with this question, because I feel like you and I had a conversation during the pandemic about attending these networking parties virtually, right? So it's a little different right now that you can't be in person. So what's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, I attended a few different film festivals virtually. And the ones that I remembered and had, I guess, a better time at were the ones that did have networking opportunities and virtual parties. There was one festival called Nightstream that you made a little 8-bit character, and you could walk around like 8-bit world and interact with other festival goers. And when you get close to somebody, their video would pop up and you could talk that way. So that was kind of a cool, innovative way to keep that networking aspect of film festivals alive during the pandemic. But maybe when things do get back to normal, or somewhat normal, whatever that's going to be, I would say another way to network is to go to movies that you want to see and that you think sound cool or sound great, and talk with people afterwards, because they've just experienced the same movie that you did. You were excited about it. These people likely were too. I think that's another good way to meet people who are like-minded, because you already saw the same movie. Now you can talk about it. So
I think that's a really great point. As Joel mentioned, that you don't have to think about it in the terms of a business meeting and making those connections. It's more about just having fun. And even if you're not going to, find the next actor for your film or your crew members or something, just talking to people about the film that you just watched. I think that's a really great point. Deanna, what insight do you have about tips for networking? We'll go with, in person, unless you have some virtual experience you want to add as well.
No, I have virtual experience too. In the last couple of months, I've been to 3 festivals that had those kind of virtual lobbies with the little avatars that you walk around and meet other people, and all designed sort of differently, sometimes with a table that only had 2 people, and so you could have private conversations, and sometimes a wider thing where you explored and then you found people and they zoomed up. And yeah, they are like parties where you get to talk to people and have fun. But unlike, what Joel was saying, my experience at festivals is people ask, do you have a film in the festival? What is it? And we're sharing links to our websites and to our films in the chat. And for physical festivals, I think it's really important to have something that you can give people, not like Joel said, it's not like you go up and you just say, oh, hi, I'm Deanna and here's my business card. But after you talk to people for a while, you might want to exchange cards, or like at the end of the conversation, or make postcards. This is real common, a postcard that shows your film on it, that helps people remember what film you saw, what you had in the festival, and has your contact info on the back. That kind of swap back and forth of business cards and postcards is very common. And of course, swapping DVDs actually, I have my Oscar box here too. DVDs are not dead yet. It's still a way that people share films, or they share them on a zip drive too. Another thing that, there are a ton of articles about how to actually network, meet people, be successful at festivals. One of the things we used to do when I took students to SIGGRAPH is we agreed that we weren't going to hang in a pack with each other, but we were going to split up during the day. And that forced us, when we got on the bus, to meet new people. And then at the end of the day, we'd come together and share who we'd met, and maybe be able to introduce someone in our group to this new group of friends that we had connected with at the festival. But people do hats and T-shirts. I was making bags for a while so that I could carry around the festival program. And then also, if someone said, what about your film? I'd point to this image on the bag. But another way that you can network at festivals is festivals have bags, and they're usually brightly colored, and you can see that somebody down the street is also wearing the brand of the festival that you're at. And it's easy to go up and just say, oh, hi, you're at Glass, I'm at Glass. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Oregon, I'm from so-and-so. You have a filming competition. That's common kind of festival chat.
That's great advice. And I love the idea of, more creative ways to share the information about movies that you've created, like the postcards or the swag or anything like that. So it doesn't just have to be a business card. That's great. John, what are your thoughts? Any additional tips for networking at festivals that you'd like to share?
I think there's some really great advice from everybody before. I like the idea of the bag with your the image from your film on. I think that's cool. I think swag in general is cool. So yeah, I don't necessarily know about business cards, but I've done postcards before. I don't know if that helps with networking, but the postcards definitely helped with getting attendance to your film at a film festival. Oftentimes it's very competitive, lots of different screening venues and weird hours, and so you're like trying to get a good audience into your film, depending on the level of film festival. Some festivals, everything's sold out. Other times, you got to hustle a little bit. Beyond the bags, I would say look for the filmmaker badges. Oftentimes you go to film festivals and there's only a small percentage of the people there are actually filmmakers. So you look for the festival, like the filmmaker badges, and they're generally like color coded in some way that you can see that it's not just like a pass holder, like they're a filmmaker. That's a great way to just be like, oh, you're a filmmaker. I've got a film too. What are you guys seeing? I tell my students and anybody interested really that it's about having a common, some sort of commonality. And then the next step would be like an authentic interest. So before you go to a film festival, study the program and see if there's any filmmakers in particular that you would really do want to connect with. You've seen their work at other festivals, or it seems to have a vision similar to yours. Go to those movies. And then I think Jackson mentioned hanging out after the movie and talking to people, because filmmakers are sometimes get exhausted with kind of silly questions from audiences. They're not always silly, but sometimes they're a little repetitive. Whereas interacting with another filmmaker is kind of refreshing after you've been talking to people who are maybe not filmmakers. Looking for like an authentic interest in people's work. If you go up to somebody or you ask them a question that's very specific to their film or their career, it shows that you've actually spent some time researching them, not stalking necessarily, but doing some research. Generally, people will respond really well to that authentic interest or shared interest, or maybe you have a common friend that you met at another film festival. Look for those angles to start conversation. And then, as Joel says, you want it to be like real. You don't want to to be too business-like. It's not a accountant's convention. It's a film festival. And so go to the parties and talk to people and try and enjoy yourself. Find people that are like-minded.